Wilson back again, and today's offering is a little bit different for me. I'm going to show you a little bit about coloring with your distress inks. I'm also going to show you how your dies don't always have to be on full display with your cards. So let's run you through what we'll be using in today's card. In the Austrian collection, I have the Vienna die. This is going to be in the background of our card. We have the Salzburg. And we're going to be using the corner, border, and tag from the Austrian collection as well. A couple more items that we're using are the Teresa Collins paper pad. This is exclusive to Creative Expressions and has some really lovely patterns that go really nicely together, and they're done really small, so if you do paper piecing and things like that, it's a perfect pad for you. And the Just Right Black Eyed Susan stamp set is going to feature in today's card. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and already done is I've cut one of these Salzburg dies, and you'll see I've actually taped it to my mat. There's a reason for that. I'm going to do a bit of stamping, but once I'm done with that, I'm going to do some inking, and I wanted to mask off these areas, and so rather than make you watch me put all the tape around it, I've gone ahead and done that ahead of time. So we're just going to do our stamping first. So I've got the little daisy or the little Black-Eyed Susan out of the set, and I'm using the black archival, and I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to put one right up in the top corner here. Give it a good push. And now I'm going to mask it off. Okay, so I've stamped and cut out the bottom part of this flower out of Post-it paper, and I'm just going to line it up just to cover up where I stamped it the first time. Ink it up again, and we're going to put this one off to the side, making sure we get inside the die there. Okay, so now we're going to remove that first mask gently, so it looks like it's going behind there. Okay, and we're going to move this down to this one, right, let's see, right there. Oops. There we go. Okay, I'm going to ink it one more time. Put this one right about here. Let's see. Give it a good push. Move that ink, and tell you what, since that may overlap twice, what I'm going to do is put the second mask in place right here, and we'll do the bottom one. Ooh, a little bit crooked there. There we go. Ink up my stamp one more time, and we'll catch this last little bit down here. So I've got 4 of these beautiful flowers stamped. Take our masks off, pop them out of the way, and you can keep these and use them later. Store them, in fact, with your stamp set. It's a good idea. So I'm going to do some inking first with the tumbled glass distress ink around the edge. And I didn't actually want that to go to the outside part of my die cut, so that's why I've covered it all with removable tape. So we're just going to pop through and fill this in around the edge, just to give it a pretty background. So I don't have to worry about hitting parts of that die that I don't want inked because I've got the tape there. That's pretty, I like that. Just gives it a nice little sky look to it. So now let's take this and lift it up, and we'll remove our tape. I don't recommend keeping this because it's already got the ink on it though. I would not probably reuse that myself. But you can see you've got a really lovely design that's highlighted around the edge, but not on the die itself. So I'm going to do some coloring in with my distress markers first, and I've chosen Tattered Rose and Scattered Straw to do my flowers with. Now what I like to do is to add a wee bit of color to the flower itself to begin with around the edge, and then I'm going to go in with a paintbrush and pick up a little bit that I've put onto my craft mat there and just paint these flowers out. And you can just pull that through a little bit and add that color in. Do a very quick little job here. And you may have to add more color to your craft mat. This Tattered Rose is a fairly light color. And then I can go back in, add a little bit more in, and that'll serve as a kind of a highlight on those areas where the actual stamp design is a little deeper. There we go, go around there. Do this flower. Pick up a little bit more water and just lighten that up through there. Very, very simple. These distress markers make it easy to paint with, I have to say. Put a little bit more on there. Pick that up. Very nice. And then we'll do these last two real quickly. In fact, we can probably do both of them right about the same time. Just fill in the rest of those petals. And you see I pick up just a little bit more of the ink, but I've got water on my brush so it's softer there. And if you don't think you're getting enough color, just add a little bit more, pick it up on your paintbrush, and pop it in there. How pretty is that? And then I like to go back in and just, those areas where there's heavy highlighting on your stamp, you can add a little bit more in with your marker direct to your stamped image. Okay, so that's pretty good on the Tattered Rose. So let's change the color, clean our brush a little bit, and I'm going to go in with the Scattered Straw. I'm going to use the brush end of this marker and just add a little bit in here. Pop that in. And if you get too much on, you can actually take a little bit off with your water too and take a little highlight spot out. So that's very pretty. I like the way that's come out. We'll leave that just like that so you can see. Only took a couple of minutes to color that in with your distress marker. It's really nice. So I'm going to put a matte piece on the back here. I've just cut one of the ovals from the set, and I'm just going to find my glue and we'll add a little bit onto the back of this card. There we go. And around the edge in little spots. And that should give us our focal element. There we go. That'll look so pretty showing through and matching those flowers. Let's see if we can get that nicely lined up. There, so now we've got the focal element done. Okay, so I'm going to kind of work backwards from my card now. What I've gone ahead and done ahead of time was I've cut the border from the set, trimmed it down to size a little bit, and I'm going to add it just to the bottom of a piece of the Teresa Collins paper pad where I've stamped my sentiment with the black archival. Sometimes having just a tiny little bit peeking out from underneath something adds so much interest to it. So let's just see if we can get that so it's lined up right about like that. That looks nice, and I'm going to add just another piece of tape on there to make sure it's secure. And I said earlier that you don't always have to have your die cuts like this. One of the things that's really nice to do is to have just a little bit of a portion of your die cut peeking out from behind. So I think right about like that looks good. So we'll pop it over and I'll tape it into place. And I'm just going to use some regular cello tape here. And you can take the time to make sure it's nice and centered, but I think that looks pretty good. And we'll add it on to our background piece with some more double-sided tape. And let's just put a little bit down here. And I think I'll put a piece right across here to keep it secure. I've chosen one of the Teresa Collins designs that's it's a very small little design. I've gone around the edge with some scissors to distress it, give it a little bit of a shabby chic look, and I've added some pearls up in the corner. So we will put this on there right about like that, so you can see how my background's coming together. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I'll go ahead and just mount that onto the matting and layering pieces I've done earlier. Adding some double-sided tape. And you can see these are double-sided. Even the back side of this is absolutely beautiful. Okay. And I've just to show you before I do that, I've gone ahead and actually gone around the edges here with my scissors and given it a distressed look just to kind of enhance that shabby chicness. Pop that into place like that. Okay, so I'm going to add some mounting foam to this. Raise it up for a little bit of dimension. Add that onto the top like that. Tell you what, let me move this up just a little bit there. Okay, and because I want that same shabby chic look on my bow, I've tied a messy bow. I'm going to go ahead and spritz it with some just plain water and just wrinkle it. Just wad it up. Just give it that really nicely crunched look to it. And you can kind of pull your bow pieces apart a little bit, and because they're wet, you can really go in there and get some wrinkles into it to give it that kind of look you're going for. And then I'm just going to hold it into place and give it a little dry with my heat tool. The nice thing about seam binding is you won't melt it like you will with organzas and things like that, so it's easy to dry this way. That looks pretty good. And we will use a glue dot with this. And if you don't have it really nice and dry, sometimes your glue dots don't stick to that, but I think we're pretty good on that one. Pop that into place. I'm just going to put that right off the edge there. And I've tied a little bit of a, what I call a jute bow out of the natural twine. I'm going to add that into the center of this, just because it's kind of pretty to add on top of that. And a crystal sparkler. Now I've got one of the black ones here to pick up some of the colors from the background paper. Pop that into place. There you go. And you can spread these out and really fuss about with them how you like them. But I think that is absolutely gorgeous. And you've got a really, really pretty shabby chic card that just gives you the hint of a pretty lacy die cut back there without being too much, I think. Hope you've enjoyed today's video.